It's my pleasure to welcome you tonight to our band concert. Before we begin, we would like to ask you to join us in a moment of silence as we remember one of our own, Aiden Sullivan. Aiden passed away earlier this week after a long battle with cancer. He was an avid and enthusiastic musician who loved to play the bass sax among other instruments. As we dedicate this evening's performance to his memory, we ask that you join us for a moment of silence in his honor. In correlation with the national standards for music education, students learn how to listen to multiple genres of music and how to respect the time and efforts of other performers in a live setting. We ask that you join our students in creating a respectful atmosphere that allows the students to focus on what they do best, make music, and experience it together. Our silence during the performance reflects neither our approval or disapproval of their performance, but the time and hard work put into preparing for this one moment to show you, our audience, how important music is. Our appropriate applause at the end of each piece shows our appreciation and admiration of their talents and skills. Bathrooms are located in the auditorium lobby towards the gym. If you must leave, we ask that you do so quietly as possible in between the performances. Kicking off our performances tonight is the Eastern Elements Concert Band performing an arrangement of songs entitled Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them, arranged by Patrick Brazil. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the Eastern Elements Concert Band.
Good evening. Thank you so much for coming out. Our next piece is entitled Color in the Gray, and it's by a composer who did not really start composing until after COVID. The composer is also younger than me, which, talk about old. That really gets you, even more than the gray hair. And so the composer of the piece wrote it and really was trying to speak to the creative spark that resides in an individual. And so he sought to portray this in a couple of different ways. One is with the same kind of rhythmic theme that occurs and is presented throughout all of the instruments throughout the piece. And then the second, he explores a wide variety of different pitches and tonalities every time that theme is introduced. And we got to dig in a little bit and listen to some of the harmonic progressions in the piece, and then see where those also existed in movies with heroes and storylines such as Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, etc., so that the students could kind of hear how certain emotions can be invoked through music. And so the piece ends with a key signature and a tonality that isn't presented at any point until right at the end. The students have really worked hard on this and really not just musically invested, but also emotionally invested into this piece. So we hope you enjoy our presentation of Color in the Gray. last piece for you this evening, before we switch and bring our next group on stage, is a piece called Kentucky 1800. This is kind of a collection of Appalachian folk tunes that are woven together. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you again for coming out, and we will bring our next group on stage after this performance. Our next piece, entitled Dusk, is actually written by a North Carolina resident, Stephen Bryant, in 2004. The title of the piece is called Dusk, and when Stephen Bryant began composing the piece, he wanted to capture the beauty in a sunset and kind of the still and the quiet of the evening. As he began to write the piece, he sought to portray two different kinds of beauty. Not just the setting of the sun, but the more that he observed and began to write, he noticed how much beauty there was in the bright colors and hues that you see right before the sun slips over the horizon. And so the piece kind of became not just symbolic of the beauty and peace that can be found at the end of the day, but also in the promise of a new day coming. And so particularly with seniors, as they prepare to embark on the next journey, this was a piece that we talked a lot about after we read it and worked on it, and really tried to emotionally invest in. And we really hope you enjoy our performance tonight of Stephen Bryant's Dusk. last piece before our final transition of the evening is a piece called Dancing at Stonehenge. And the piece seeks to blend a variety of music, everything from jazz to American Renaissance music, to even some Brazilian music. And it's been a lot of fun to put together, the way that it kind of fuses styles and showcases all the various instruments in the group. After this, we'll have our last quick transition of the evening. We'll bring our percussion ensemble on stage to close you out. And I believe we will have a couple of band parents to reveal who walks away with our gift basket from tonight's raffle. So thank you again for coming out, and we really hope you enjoy our final performance with Symphonic Band of Dancing with Stonehenge. As we get ready to conclude tonight with our last piece entitled Technology, I want to thank some people very quickly. First, Ms. Brantley and our Eastern administration and faculty and staff for all of their support and everything that they do. Huge thanks to Ms. Stacy Stepp for decorating the stage and getting everything ready for us this evening. I want to congratulate all of the students. These students work really hard every day that they come in, and they share something that for them is part of who they are, which I never take lightly, and being able to see them work on their craft and work together and produce not just music, but all of the bonds and everything that happens within a class period. It's just the neatest thing in the world to be able to do every day. I'm very proud of their work. If you would, please join me in congratulating all of the students who have performed tonight. If you missed it, there are some QR codes around the lobby, which will allow you to see our program from this evening. There's some around the table and around the entrances to the seating areas and throughout the exterior lobby there if you need it. Again, I want to thank you for taking time to come to our concert this evening and for supporting these students in music and everything that they do. We hope you enjoy our final piece this evening, Technology. It'll feature a variety of solos and also some improvisational solos, some trading twos back and forth between some of the members at the end. And we really hope you enjoy this piece.